You know what I'm talking about?
Mike, did you just do that?
I did. Awesome, we're there.
We do some hot.
Yeah, my shirt. Or just all right, on the stream, I don't know about on the camera. On the stream, I look dark.
Okay, I'll turn you, I'm gonna put you in the auto line.
All right. All right. Wore this white shirt just for an occasion like this. That's more better.
Looks good now?
Well, hang on. You just zoomed into focus. Yeah, it looks a lot better.
You need to give me less.
I need to give you less. Oh, well. Okay. Check 1 2 1 2 2. Check 1 2. Welcome to the University of Louisville's clinical translational. Is it clean? Clear? Good? You good? All right, man. I ain't doing it again.
That's it. No more. Well,
We get two franchises funding it, so. Both the characters and the answers are there.
Hopefully that won't be you.
Your eyes look familiar, but I think early on, we met, no, I don't. No, I'm sorry. You look familiar, it's just been, I think we met like last year or something, right? Jackson. They had to get me at Jackson. It's one we have found our 6 feet.
Thank you very much.
All right, one more mic check here. White balance mic check. White balance mic check. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to the University of Louisville Center. All right. Clinical Translational Research Building. Not the CTR, the CTRB. You good? All right. Everybody good?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here today for this exciting announcement. I'm Betty Kaufman with the University of Louisville Office of Communications and Marketing. We will have questions following our speakers this morning. You can text those questions to 502-475-5727, or you're welcome to leave them in the YouTube comments if you're watching us via live stream. I'd like to now welcome, without further ado, Dean Tony Gansel of the University of Louisville School of Medicine.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for this exciting announcement, either whether you're with us in person or you're joining us via live stream. Cancer is one of the most difficult problems facing human health. And sadly, in Kentucky, we have among the highest rates of cancer in the United States. At the University of Louisville and James Grand Brown Cancer Center, we have a proud 2-decade tradition, though, of outstanding cancer research and treatment, from basic science and drug discovery to providing the most advanced cancer treatments available. Our scientists develop new treatments, improve existing treatments, and consistently bring the latest discoveries and therapies to patients in Kentucky and our region. Today, one of the most promising areas of treatment for cancer is the use of the patient's own immune system to fight the disease. These treatments, known as immunotherapy, are providing hope for millions of people worldwide. Today, it's my great pleasure to announce the creation of the University of Louisville Center for Cancer Immunotherapy and Immunology, funded by a 5-year, $11.5 million grant from the National Institute of General Medical Sciences. This center will help our researchers develop and improve immunotherapies to treat cancer. It will be the first center of biomedical research excellence that's focused on cancer immunotherapy. The CCII will support our senior scientists and our young investigators in their research to create and improve immunotherapy cancer treatments with project funding and mentorship and sophisticated lab facilities. One of the grand challenges that we have for ourselves that we've set is the advancing our health at U of L, helping people live lives that are not just longer, but that are healthier and more resilient. Developing and improving and providing the most advanced cancer therapies is incredibly important to this challenge. Congratulations to the program's principal investigators, Dr. Jason Chesney and Dr. June Yan, along with Dr. John Trent and Dr. Paula Bates, center co-investigators, and all of the senior and junior researchers who are doing this amazing work within the center. I also want to thank COSAIR Charities, the first community partner for the center, for supporting the program with a gift that will allow the work in this center to extend to cancer immunotherapy for children as well as adults. At the heart of all of this research is our sincere desire to improve the care of patients, a passion that is shared by our clinical partners at U of L Health. Please join me in welcoming the CEO of U of L Health, Tom Miller. Tom?
Thank you, Dean Gansel. On behalf of U of L Health, I applaud you and the University of Louisville for recognizing the importance of and investing in the health of our community, especially where it comes to cancer. Unfortunately, our Commonwealth has serious problems with cancer, consistently ranking as one of the highest among all states. It's our #1 cause of death between the ages of 45 and 65, and second leading cause of death over all Kentuckians. That's why U of L Health's Brown Cancer Center is so critical. For nearly 20 years, we've been at the forefront of the clinical development of drugs that activate your immune system against cancer. Our leading-edge cancer programs improve access to patients in our region, giving them the opportunity to benefit from the life-saving immunotherapies. And in some cases, they're available here before anywhere else through clinical trials. Thousands of our cancer patients, our neighbors, our family members are alive today because of the early focus on drugs that activate immunities against cancer. This $11 million grant is an endorsement of U of L and U of L Health's commitment to beat cancer. The power of U is our combined strength of research, academic, and clinical expertise. I know that this grant and the work of all the U of L Health cancer colleagues will translate into more saved lives. And I know it's difficult to be seen as an expert in your local community, and this group is not. They are an expert in the world on immunotherapies. With that, I'd like to introduce the leader of the Brown Cancer Center, Dr. Jason Chesney.
Thank you, Tom. First, I want to thank Dr. Gansel, Tom Miller, who you just heard from, our president, Dr. Neely Bendapudi, for creating a culture and a foundation at the University of Louisville and U of L Health that saves lives through discovery, education, and innovative clinical care. Cancer is a leading cause of death for young adults, old adults, the elderly. Close to 10 million people will die of cancer this year alone worldwide. This $11.5 million center grant from the federal government supports innovative research to discover new ways to activate your immune system against cancer and save lives. Importantly, the awarding of such a large federal grant to develop new cancer immunotherapies demonstrates that the researchers and clinicians at the University of Louisville and at U of L Health are national leaders in the fight against cancer. The newly funded Center for Cancer Immunology and Immunotherapy leverages our unique strengths in cancer immunology and clinical trials to help us save the lives of our patients every day. Thousands of cancer patients benefit from these strengths each year, and I'm thrilled to introduce a patient of mine, Jeff Habermill. Jeff received an experimental combination of a new immunotherapy with a genetically engineered virus, and I'm happy to say that he is now cancer-free. This has happened to thousands of patients of mine over the years because they agreed to participate in early phase clinical trials and undergo unique combinations of therapies. We're fortunate today because Jeff has agreed to share his experiences as a cancer patient at U of L Health's Brown Cancer Center. And I'd like to stop and have Jeff come up and join us. Jeff?
Thank you very much. First of all, I am incredibly humbled and consider it an honor to be asked to speak at the announcement of this grant, which will continue the life-saving and life-changing work here at the Brown Cancer Center. Melanoma cancer is cancer number 3 for me. I was successfully treated for prostate cancer over 5 years ago. 3 years ago, I was referred to the Brown Cancer Center for a blood disorder which was too complex for one of the smaller cancer facilities in the area to diagnose. Dr. Emmons at the Brown BMT Clinic diagnosed me with a gene mutation which is a precursor to myelodysplastic syndrome. Ironically enough, the disease which took my mother's life. A little over a year ago, I was diagnosed with melanoma. Needless to say, the melanoma diagnosis was an incredibly dark period for my wife and I. Since Dr. Emmons had been seeing me for my blood disorder, it was a natural progression to seek the help of the melanoma clinic. My first question to the melanoma coordinator when scheduling the appointment was, Is this a death sentence? My spirits were lifted when she stated that no, it was not a death sentence, and that I would likely be treated with the latest immunotherapy drugs, which have shown amazing results. After the requisite scans, testing, etc., my wife and I met with Dr. Chesney. The pain in my wife's face was difficult to watch. However, Dr. Chesney looked at us and said that it was his goal to see that I lived till I was 90. Incredibly powerful words to a person who was looking at 3 strikes and you're out. In the words of the great Lou Gehrig, I now consider myself the luckiest man alive. When asked about my cancer, I am the ultimate unsolicited spokesperson for the Brown Cancer Center. I tell anyone who will listen how fortunate we are to live in a time and place where we have the ability to combat and cure a disease which typically has an unhappy ending. From the moment I walk into the facility, I am uplifted and confident that the best hearts and minds in the medical field have my well-being as their top priority. From Dr. Chesney to Dr. Don Miller, the lab staff, the nurses who do the infusions, and the folks in the reception area, they all serve to make my treatment an uplifting experience. For this, my wife Susan and I are eternally grateful.
Thank you, Jeff, for sharing that very, very telling story of your experience at the Brown Cancer Center, and very heartfelt story. And thank you for supporting our efforts to make cancer a disease of the past. Speaking of those efforts, this large $11.5 million federal grant would not have happened if it weren't for the hard work of the researchers at the U of L Health Brown Cancer Center, including Doctors Paula Bates, John Trent, and June Yan. Dr. Yan is a leading cancer immunologist in the world. He's federally funded with a National Cancer Institute grant. I think he has 2 of those, actually. And he is the co-principal investigator for this new center. Dr. Yan, if you'd care to come up and share us your thoughts.
Thank you, Dr. Chesney. It's my great pleasure and honor to be here. So I'm delighted with humility to lead the Center for Cancer Immunology and Immunotherapy, CCII, along with the Brown Cancer Center Director, Dr. Jason Chesney. As we stated in the proposal, so the mission of the CCII is to conduct outstanding research that works towards harnessing the power of immune system to eradicate cancer. One of the major objectives for this center is to cultivate the next generation of cancer scientists in immunology and immunotherapy. So we have 4 outstanding junior project leaders to start with. Starting in year 2, we're calling pilot projects, which will bring in more researchers and investigators to work in the area of cancer immunology and immunotherapy. Actually, the Brown Cancer Center just recently announced the Lindy and Bill Street fellowship program in immune oncology using philanthropy funds. With all this support, we are able to build the critical mass in this area and to become one of the leading centers in the nation. This center is also supported by a scientific core called Functional Immunomics Core, FIC, which is led by Dr. Bing Lee and Dr. Harry Butleri. So the FIC will contribute the important new infrastructure and also leverage existing resources to provide outstanding support for all the projects. The core is equipped with state-of-art CyTOF technology. The CyTOF mass cytometry can characterize extensively the cancer patient immune landscape, which can help medical oncologists to make treatment decisions. As we are building this core now, so the ultimate goal for this core is to serve all the faculty at U of L and also the whole community to benefit the cancer patient care. I also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge additional senior researchers for this center. Dr. Najat Agmans, Dr. Rob Mitchell, Dr. Hongi Zhang. So they serve as mentors for the junior project leaders. So now I would like to introduce John Trent, our Brown Cancer Center Deputy Director and also co-investigator and integral member of this research team. John.
Thanks, June. So I'm a cancer researcher, as is Jun Yang, Paula Bates, and Jason Chesney, and 3 floors of this building are cancer researchers. It was a pleasure to hear Mr. Habermal talk about his experience because he's the reason we do cancer research. I'd like to give something for people to think about. The actual research in the laboratory that went forward for these immunotherapies that people are getting today happened almost 20 years ago. 20 years is a long time. But because of that basic science research, over 40% of cancer patients today have immunotherapeutic options. The Brown Cancer Center has been involved, as it's been mentioned, has been involved from the beginning. And at some of the early clinical trials, before FDA approval, were led at the Brown Cancer Center by Jason Chesney. But there's still a lot of basic research to be done. And this center that we're announcing is going to conduct that research. The reason we still need to do it is immunotherapy doesn't work in all cancers yet. It doesn't work for all patients yet. We need to do more basic research. This NIH grant creates a center that will perform that basic research and lead to the generation of new therapies. The key word there is creates. We're going to build a new center that's going to have lasting impact. It's going to perform the basic science cancer research and train the next generation of researchers to perform cancer immunology. These types of grants have tremendous impact on an institution. They have tremendous impact on the Cancer Center, in U of L, and on the community. To be successful, the Cancer Center and the University of Louisville needs partners. Like the NIH has partnered with us to create the center, but we also need partners in the community where our patients come from. One great community partner for the Brown Cancer Center and University of Louisville has been COSER Charities. They have supported pancreatic cancer research for children for over a decade, and they provide an endowment so that we can carry on that research. And they have stepped up once again to provide support for the cancer research so that we can look at immunotherapies in children. I'd like to thank COSER Charities for all of their past, present, and hopefully future funding. And there is no better person or friend to the Cancer Center as the president of COSER Charities, which is Mr. Keith Inman, and I'd like to invite him up to speak now.
Thank you, John. You know, I'm pretty humbled to be here today because I'm in the presence of greatness. And to echo Tom, you know, it's hard to be a hero in your own hometown, but these are world best. These are world best, and we do need to support them. But since 1923, COSER Charities has been about one thing, and that's helping children overcome some obstacles in their lives to reach their full potential. And there is no greater obstacle in a child's life than a cancer diagnosis. And that's why that in 2007, we made the largest grant we've ever made. We've made the largest grant COSER Charities has ever made to an organization to create a pediatric cancer center here. Our goal is to allow families to stay home and take advantage of the world's best researchers and physicians that are in this community. And we're so very, very proud of that. You know, I couldn't pronounce immunotherapy when I first heard it. It just didn't roll off. But let's get used to it, because it's going to cure kids' cancer. It's going to cure, as we've seen it with Jeff, adult cancer. We are so proud to be the first community partner with this center. We are so proud that our grant, and yes, there will be future grants, we are so proud that it allows children to be a part of this very, very important study. And again, let's celebrate the greatness. And as Dr. Trent said, we need the community to get behind the Brown Cancer Center. We need the community and the philanthropists in this community to help us end cancer in this state. So, usually I'm not very clear. Let me be clear. We want help. We need help. Let's work together to do that. And now I'd like to introduce one of those world's best scientists to come and give her comments, Dr. Paula Bates.
Hello, everyone. I have the great honor of recognizing 4 investigators who've played a very major role in winning this large grant. These researchers developed 4 exciting research projects that will be supported by the new center. They are Dr. Chuanlin Ding from the Department of Surgery, Dr. Chin-Sheng Lee from the Department of Microbiology and Immunology, Dr. Corey Watson from Biochemistry and Molecular Genetics, and Dr. Kavita Yadanapudi from the Department of Surgery. Each one of these researchers is working on a different project, but they share a common theme. Each project seeks to understand the mechanisms that cancer uses to avoid being destroyed by our immune systems. And each project seeks new ways to help our immune systems fight the cancer and win. The National Institutes of Health, the agency that funded this award, has a motto. And that motto is, turning discoveries into health. And that's exactly what we want to do here. Take what we discover in our research labs and turn it into better ways to treat cancer so that we can have more success stories like Mr. Habermal. We're confident that each of these 4 talented researchers will go on to win major grants of their own and make room for new researchers and new projects, all of which will be focused on harnessing the power of the immune system to fight cancer. This is the way that we'll build on our existing expertise and facilities and grow into a center of excellence in immunology and cancer immunotherapy that will be among the best in the world. But it takes teamwork to beat cancer, which is why this new center brings together researchers from different departments across U of L, and why we're working with our hospital systems and our community partners to amplify the impact of this award. Together, we maximize our chances of finding effective immunotherapies that will help adults and children who have cancer. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, very much. Do we have any questions from the media?
I have a question for Dr. Chesney or whoever may be looking to.
Yes.
Dr. Chesney, I think it was like almost exactly a year ago today, we were standing down the street talking about a $1 million donation to advance immunotherapy here at U of L. How does this relate to that, and what does that tell you about how much this program has grown, just even in the last year?
So we have been working on developing novel immunotherapies since the early 2000s. The grant that you're referring to came from Tom Dunbar to support the CAR T-cell program and the development of a GMP facility. That program ties in very well and is fully integrated with this new Center for Cancer Immunology and Immunotherapy. And you'll be hearing soon that the first patient was dosed, an 18-year-old young man, was dosed with genetically engineered immune cells. And that's the science behind that, the clinical trial design behind that. all came about because of the relationship and collaboration that's occurring between the cancer researchers in this building, the Clinical and Translational Research Building, which are all affiliated with the U of L Health Brown Cancer Center, and our clinicians, our hematologists, and in particular, we heard from Jeff Havermill about Robert Emmons. He's now the head of that GMP lab facility. So it is what we are trying to do. We understand today that immunotherapies are what are saving lives. We used to use chemotherapy to shrink tumors, but it didn't translate into long-term cures. When I told Jeff and his wife that my goal was to get them to live to be 90, I was being quite serious, and that is my goal, and I believe I will be successful at that goal. The only way I will be successful is with immunotherapy, and so these are tough, lean times for raising funds for innovative cancer research at any university, and we've decided to put everything into cancer immunology. And that means getting support from the Bill and Lindy Street Fund, the Tom Dunbar and the Dunbar family, the federal government, the Pediatric Cancer Research Trust Fund, and very importantly, COSAIR Charities, all going into the same overall effort to use the immune system to eradicate cancer.
Does it feel like, even though you've been working on it since the early 2000s, in the last however many years, in the last year even, that things are really picking up even more with the partnership with COSAIR Charities, these grants really helping, advance immunotherapy here at Louisville?
There's been an exponential increase in the support. There's been an exponential increase in lives saved. We are expecting a 25% reduction in the total number of cancer deaths in the United States in the next 5 years, and we're conservative, we're scientists, but that's what we're expecting. Right now, just in the United States, it's just over 600,000, so we're looking to get it down to 400,000, and then 5 years later, we're hoping to get it down to 300,000. And that's only going to happen through support from the community, through support from the institution. University of Louisville supports the Cancer Center with $5 million a year, by the way. Support from the state. The state has a cancer research and screening fund every year that provides $3.5 million. And so we're all working together, and we're really focusing on immunotherapy, cancer immunology, because we know that that is the best approach to make sure that patients live normal, long lifespans. Okay. Thank you.
I do have one other question from YouTube. Dr. Chesney, this may be for you. Thank you. Can you describe how the funding might be broken down in recruiting new researchers versus building new facilities or clinical trials?
So, are you talking about the funding for the COBRA grant or in general?
The COBRA grant.
So the COBRA grant, the funding for the COBRA grant is for 4 projects and 3 cores. The projects are really being led by junior investigators who haven't gotten their first big federal grant. These grants are usually about $2 million. So the funding is to support these junior investigators until they get their first grant. The funding goes to support a mentor, a cancer researcher who has gotten funding, has been successful, has conducted high-impact research. The cores, on the other hand, there is infrastructure support for. I will say that one of the key cores that Dr. Jan mentioned, which is our functional immunomics core, was only made possible through a generous gift from the Bill and Lindy Street Fund, because they supported the purchase of the CyTOV, which allows us to look at around 60 different surface antigens on immune cells and really explore the immune response in ways that it's never been explored. That's about an $800,000 machine that's part of that core today. To answer the question very succinctly, most of the support is to support the cancer researchers' salaries and their supplies and some of their equipment.
And a follow-up question to that, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
When was the grant first begun? The funding?
So the grant started in February of this year, the first award. It's an $11.5 million grant for 5 years. It is renewable for up to 15 years, and it can easily add up to around $30 million. The reason that we're having this announcement in September is that we had planned the announcement and then the SARS-CoV-2 pandemic began, and we felt that it was more important for us to focus on the impact of SARS-CoV-2 on our cancer patients and addressing the healthcare needs of the community.
And one follow-up question, one more. Do you have any idea when the first results from this research might be announced?
So the funding is for basic research that is supporting clinical trial design. There are clinical trials underway already today based on the researchers who had already been working in this area. And every month there's new results coming out. A recent patient was interviewed by multiple members of the press who was a lung cancer patient, and he was on a clinical trial that derived from the basic research as well as from the focus on clinical trial testing, and received an experimental combination for a terminal non-small cell lung cancer diagnosis. Those patients live a year or two, and now he's out several years with no evidence of cancer, leading a normal lifespan. So when Dr. Trent mentioned, there's this 20-year lag, he's absolutely right, but these researchers and their results impact how we design our clinical trials today, which in turn impact the lives of patients, not in 20 years, but frankly in a year or two. And so you should expect to be hearing more and more findings from our clinical trials in the upcoming months. And this is all going to, every time we drop the death rate by 5% and 10%, that's cumulative. I believe my children have almost no chance of dying of cancer. I do not believe they will die of cancer. I believe everyone in this room, which ranges from 30-year-olds to 65-year-olds, I suspect, have a much better chance at living to be 90 and 100 than they ever did in the past.
And one additional question. In terms of the center, is this new labs that are being built or just new research initiatives?
So we're fortunate to be standing in a state-of-the-art $170 million research facility funded by the University of Louisville called the Kozair Charities Clinical and Translational Research Building. The Brown Cancer Center holds 60% of the building, and there's a 50,000 square foot animal facility for drug testing, mostly in mice down in the lower level. We have space already, and we did not have to create new infrastructure to support the researchers for this grant. Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming today. We really appreciate it.